In the last 60 days, I've had 4 calls with agents, some with tears, some not, about having to go get a job. That's not hyperbole. Like, it's true.
I got a text message from a client and it talked about the amount of sales in comparison to like 2008, 2009, how it's like half of the amount of sales at that time. He's like, if your agent's killing it in this market, he's a gangster.
Yeah, I might be strange. When it gets difficult, bro, I get excited. I get so amped. Because when everything's going great, like everybody looks like they know what they're doing and that they're a gangster.
Yeah.
When things are difficult, it's only in dark does lightness become very, very apparent. Oh, this is my time to shine. Yeah, I think the key takeaway here is, again, I know 7 times said is once heard. We may sound repetitive. We're saying the same thing over and over again. I just know, having been in a leadership position for a while, that it's usually not until people start to experience pain do they start to pay attention. But my hope for agents out there is that they listen before they start to experience pain.
If you resist it long enough, eventually things go back to like a flatter market where it's not increasing or decreasing. But by that time, I mean, you've already put yourself very likely in a hole, meaning like you've depleted a lot of your savings, or you've had to go get another job because you weren't bringing in income at that point, Either resist it or adapt, basically. And I think that's the main thing in real estate is just adaptation.
If you avoid something when it's a small issue, it's guaranteeing that it's going to become a big one. So if you know in your being, bro, I am uncomfortable having these pricing conversations. Hey, I find myself arguing with people. Hey, I'm unable to help people to self-discover their expectation is in alignment with where the market is right now. Hey, I have a hard time politely confronting people. You're getting feedback from the market. The market is telling you something, and you have to make a decision either to deal with it. And what deal with it looks like is you watch the videos that we post, you hop on the free, because there's no shortage, dude. We also do a live role play. It's a public service. It's free. You guys can hop on and ask us whatever you want. You just have to make a decision. And the thing that I think that I really want to get clear with as well, from a mindset perspective, I think everybody's wishing that it was easier. The longer that you stay in that mental map of I wish it was easier, the longer it'll take for you to actually deal with what's happening. Instead, it should be, which is the old famous Jim Rohn quote, which is don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Go acquire the skills. Because if me and Jose can do it, you can do it. Tell me this as far as with the time that we have left, because you're mentioning negotiations are starting to change. So talk a little bit about, I think you did briefly, I'm noticing buyers are asking for a lot of stuff. So how are you, because I know what I would do during that transition. I would start to, as a pivot, I would start to prep and manage seller expectations. So even though it's on an as-is contract, because we would request all offers be written on an as-is contract, I need you to be clear, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. That means that they still have the right to do an inspection and they still may ask us for something.
I think for us, it depends on the situation, because this is even what's happening right now. Let's say that you're accepting an offer that's $20,000 less, and they're already hammering and
hammering and hawing, and you gotta just to get them there, right?
Or it's almost hey, I'm not going a penny below that. It's okay, just getting them to that point and then dealing with that later on, kicking the bucket down the road.
Yeah, and the way that I would
slightly sprinkle it in there.
Think about salt, just tick, right on the top. Is I would say yeah, I understand completely. And I just want to manage the expectation for you, right? Which is that we did request that it be on an as-is contract. And what that means is that they do have the right to do an inspection. They still may even ask us for something. Now, if they do, we'll have a couple of options at our disposal. One is we can flat out say no. Two, perhaps we decide to come to a meeting of the minds in some way. At the same time, I just wanted you to be clear and what to expect moving forward. And then be quiet.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm not going to you're going to have to come. Nope. Just whoop, here it is. So you're probably going to have to deal with it. We'll deal with it later.
I'll say something along the lines in some cases, be look, even though we did communicate to the agent that it's an as-is sale, just so you know, they're still entitled to do their inspections. And during their inspection period, they'll have 3 options. Either A, they can request something, either some repairs or a credit. And then you have the option of either accepting, rejecting, or countering that back. But just so you know that that just because we mentioned to them or we wrote on the contract that it's an as is, that doesn't mean that they're not entitled to do their own inspections on the property.
And then be quiet. So you're doing the same thing I am. We're just maybe a little bit different, but like I'm ever so slight. I'm not going to be like, hey, it's time to do this, but like, boom. And then when they do come back and in fact do ask for a $20,000 credit, now that's a whole conversation. So like, you know, I'm going through the edits. Thank you for doing that, by the way, on the book and stuff. And I'm at a part where we're talking about like negotiating. And what I was talking about, which pops up for me right now, is I don't think what agents recognize is there's multiple presentations that happen in a negotiation. So you're presenting to the seller and perhaps their significant other and the agent. There's multiple presentations, right? So when let's say they come back and they ask, or before, let's say when we accept the offer, hey, great news is we have a fully executed agreement. I just want to call and let you know. And I just wanted to manage the expectation. I have a personal assistant on my team. Her name is Donna. She's our transaction coordinator. She's processed like 2,000 transactions with us. She's my assistant, which will make her your assistant to the transaction. She'll be the one that's coordinating inspections, appraisals, things of that nature. I'm always available to you, but she'll be the point of contact moving forward. They're like, okay. I also, just kind of want to manage the expectation. I know our job is to put this together. It's not to keep it apart. And I'm aware it came in on an as-is contract. I'm also aware that it's not, you guys have the right to do an inspection, and it's not uncommon that sometimes people may come back. I just want you to know, in speaking to the seller, they seem to be like really, really adamant that they're probably not going to do much. At the same time, you guys do what you need to do, and we'll work together as a team to try to, keep this together and get it to the closing table. And they're like, okay. So I'm just like, beep.
Yeah.
Then when they come back and I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. Depending on what it is, if it's legit, like say it's like a roof or something, like a legit thing, not like a pulling out of the sky sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like a roof. You're like, okay. And, I'm curious, because I know you're asking for 20 and, I'll do my best. At the same time, our job is to put together, not to keep it apart. Like, do you think if we were to perhaps maybe like split the difference, if that's something that we could put together? And they'll be like, yeah, and speaking to them, like, you do your best and I'll do my best. But yeah, I think we probably make that work. It's like, okay. So now I have some information to now when I go back into the hornet's nest and they're going to be mad, right? Because you're going to be like, yep, they did, as we mentioned, they have the right to do an inspection and they still may ask us for something. Now, in this instance, what came up in the inspection were some issues with the roof. Now, keep in mind that the only thing that they can't ask for like cosmetic things or things of that nature. It has to be like, structural or major heating and cooling systems or things of that nature. And what they did come back with is something that fits that criteria. It's structural, right? And it has to do with the roof. So before I go into what their request is, I just want you to know, and this isn't to persuade you either way, just so, we have clarity and we can make the decision that we feel is best. Now that we are aware of this issue with the roof, it's something that we would have to disclose. So whether we work it out with this particular buyer or somebody else, it's going to be something that we have to deal with moving forward. Now, in this particular instance, they are asking, here's what came up, and here's what they're asking. And be prepared when you say, here's what they're asking, that they're going to freak out. And when they freak out, it's like, yeah, okay. And I certainly see where you're coming from. And what I'm aware of is we have a couple options at our disposal. And again, whatever you decide is okay. The first option is we tell them to pound sand. Nope, not doing a thing. Now, while I'm aware that that would feel good, I'm also aware with a high degree of probability, because we're aware of this, now in the seller's property disclosure, we have to disclose it. And the next buyer is probably going to ask us for something as well, right? So we can either deal with it now or deal with it later. And the issue is if we say no to them, there's two things I don't know with a high degree of probability. Once we put it back on the market, how long it would take to get another offer. Because it took us 65 days here. It could take 65 more or longer. I don't know. And number two is if and when we did receive another offer, if it would be any better. I don't know that either.
Yeah.
The second option is we can give them the full credit. Now, I am not suggesting that we do that alignment. And then the third option is that we could negotiate, right? Try to come to a meeting of the minds. Now, in these instances, my experience is the most reasonable kind of counter back would be to split the difference. Now, meanwhile, I already know because I spoke to the agent, right? So split the difference right down the middle and offer them that $10,000 credit. And then in doing so, we retain some money for you. They're getting a little bit of value for here. We don't have to worry about, dealing with the roof issue and somebody asking for more next time. And we can be, 30 days closer to being sold and complete and you being out to Texas. Now, whatever you decide is okay based on what you're looking to accomplish or why, what do you think we should do? Now, they're either going to say something reasonable, unreasonable, or they're going to hem and haw.
Yeah.
They're either going to be like, yeah, Jose, I guess that makes sense. What would I net? You're like, yeah, you'd net this. Would that allow you to make this move happen? I think it would. It's not ideal, but like, just go ahead and do it. Okay, good. Or they're like, no, definitely not doing that. So that would require some more conversation, some more massaging, you know what I mean? Tell me again, motivation, like things of that nature. I don't care what you say. I'm not going to list it, dude. I don't want anybody walking in my house. I just want a cash offer. And I think a lot of agents, they view their role as an agent in a very singular way, which is all I can do is help you list the property, which that's an option.